And that's what we're watching now, is that South Africa is facing a national shutdown next Tuesday. The unions affiliated to three major federations, COSATU, FEDUSA and SAFTU, vow to bring public services to a complete halt after collapsed wage negotiations with government. Now, workers have rejected government's 3% increase, and the unions say their 6.5% compromise is now off the table. They've resorted to their initial demand of a 10% increase. We have eNCA reporter Moloko Moloto, who's been following that story and spoke to NAHA's Deputy Secretary General earlier on today.
As things stand, we are at 10%. And even the 10%, we believe it is reasonable. If the government was to offer those workers, it would go a long way to alleviate, their problems. The cost of living is continuously rising. We know that petrol, transport, costs, they are always rising. So workers deserve that money.
During the hard lockdown, we have seen some of the workers, particularly in the private sector, being forced to either be retrenched or take salary cuts. You, as the public servants, were never affected by salary cuts during that time.
During lockdown, even when people were in their homes, many of them were working from their homes. But many also were recalled back in the frontline services of health, of home affairs, SASA, where they had to disperse, the grants. SARS employees during COVID, they were recalled back. Otherwise, the economy would have collapsed if SARS did not manage to collect the revenue they collected during COVID. So it's not true that public servants were not working.
One of the things that you are calling for is that perhaps government should look into this procurement of goods and services and have certain jobs be done by people who are in the public service already. That will cut the expenditure. But we know that the tender fraud and corruption that is happening within the public sector, your members as unions see it in those particular bid evaluation, bid adjudication committee, and the argument here could be that they oxygenate this tender fraud and corruption. Shouldn't you be taking the blame there as workers?
The workers we're representing from salary level 1 to 12, they don't make decisions. They are not decision makers. The people who are decision makers are people at the senior level. Our members, they execute the instructions and the decision taken by those people. So we're not encouraging that. We say it's something that we must root out of the public service. That is why we say let's unbundle that budget on procurement, on goods and services, so that we can also see where the leakages are and how do we close those leakages.
All right. Mr. December Mavuso from Workers Union, thank you so much for your time. Moloko Moloto, Pretoria.